America is one of the most powerful nations in the world and has strict rules and regulations, even on eating foods. In the United States, there are several foods that are banned or heavily restricted due to health safety or ethical concerns. These foods may pose dangers such as contamination, toxicity, or unethical sourcing. This list includes items like raw milk, certain fish, and foods with banned additives. Let's explore 15 foods you are not allowed to eat in the USA.
But let's not speculate.
Number 15, Beluga Caviar. In 2005, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service put a ban on beluga caviar. Actually, the ban covers all beluga products, but the caviar stood out because it cost a lot, around $200 for just 1 ounce. This caviar comes from the beluga sturgeon, a fish that has become endangered recently, because so many people want to live a fancy lifestyle and eat expensive caviar. So the poor sturgeon has been under a lot of pressure, trying to satisfy the appetites of wealthy people.
You can just about see every single egg.
The U.S. told the countries near the Caspian Sea, where these sturgeon live, that they needed to show proof they were working to protect the fish in a way that met U.S. standards. But those countries didn't give any proof of their conservation efforts. These countries, Iran, Russia, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, and Turkmenistan, suffered financially because of the ban. It also doesn't help that these countries aren't exactly the closest allies of the U.S. There is still some hope for the sturgeon because more people are starting to want caviar that's made in a gentle way, where the eggs are taken without killing the fish. The rarest kind of beluga sturgeon caviar is called almas, and it comes from Iran. It's made from albino sturgeon that are between 60 and 80 years old. This special caviar can cost up to $800 an ounce, but you probably won't find it at your neighborhood Trader Joe's. Number 14, absinthe. Absinthe is a strong alcoholic drink that people say can make you feel very happy or even cause hallucinations. It's known for getting people drunk very quickly, and it was banned in the United States for the last 50 years. This drink has been around for more than 200 years and is made by distilling grains with a mix of herbs like green anise, wormwood oil, and fennel. It has a very high alcohol content, over 45%, and was first made in Switzerland in the late 1700s. Absinthe became very popular in Europe in the 1800s and arrived in the United States by 1878, but it didn't stay legal for long. People often call absinthe the green fairy because of its bright green color. It's usually served by pouring it over ice and sugar cubes to make it less strong. Sometimes people drink it straight, which shows just how powerful it is. Some think it's delicious. It tastes a lot like sambuca, with a flavor similar to black licorice. Not everyone agrees on the taste, but it does leave a slightly bitter aftertaste. Besides being a favorite drink of famous artists and writers like Vincent van Gogh and Ernest Hemingway, absinthe was banned mostly because people thought it caused hallucinations. But since 2007, absinthe has been allowed back in the US as long as it doesn't contain thujone, the chemical that was once believed to cause those hallucinations. Number 13, Haggus. This Scottish dish was mentioned by the Scottish character Groundskeeper Willie in one of the classic Treehouse of Horror episodes of The Simpsons. In the episode, Bart looks confused and asks what's haggis after reading Willie's mind. Bart is confused because haggis isn't something you usually see or eat in the United States. That's been true since 1971 when it was banned in the country. Haggis is a mostly Scottish dish that's made using minced up offal, which is the proper word for the leftover parts of an animal. There isn't a set list of what offal includes, but sheep lungs are one common example. Just hearing about that ingredient might make someone wonder why people in Scotland enjoy eating it. And it might also make Americans feel like the ban makes sense. But the Scots would say haggis tastes amazing. Haggis has a texture kind of like crumbly sausage with oats mixed in and a peppery flavor. It's a dish that goes back hundreds of years and is an important tradition in Scotland. Number 12, horse meat. Horse meat is one of the most controversial foods in the world. While many people find the idea of eating it unappealing, mostly because of the strong emotional connection humans have with horses, it's important to know that horse meat is rich in iron, high in protein, and low in fat. This makes it a surprisingly healthy option. When cooked, it's often compared to beef in taste and texture, though it's not usually eaten the same way. For some people, eating horse meat feels wrong because horses are loved as pets or valued for their work in sports and jobs. Despite this, horse meat is considered a delicacy in some parts of Europe and Asia, where it's a key part of local food traditions. In the United States, however, the sale of horse meat for human food was banned in 2007, mostly because of ethical concerns and the strong love many Americans have for horses. People who want to lift the ban say that horse meat has health benefits, but those who oppose it argue that ethical issues are more important. It's a complicated issue, and everyone has their own view on what's okay to eat. Number 11. Casu Marzu. When you think about the first person who ever ate cheese, you have to wonder what they were thinking or how desperate they were for food. Finding solid moldy cow milk might have seemed like a risky choice. Either starve or take a chance on this strange, possibly dangerous food. But apparently they survived and realized that cheese is actually great, and soon everyone was eating what was essentially rotten milk. But in Sardinia, just eating moldy cheese wasn't enough. They decided to add fly larvae to it to make it even more interesting. That's maggots for those of us who aren't into it. The creamy cheese made by these maggots is called Casu Marzu, and it's actually a sheep cheese that's allowed to rot with maggots inside. The problem with eating live maggots is that they can stay alive in your digestive system and cause health issues like pseudomyosis, which is when maggots live in your intestines. Because of this, Casu Marzu is banned not only in the United States but also across the entire European Union. As for the name Casu Marzu in the Sardinian dialect, it simply means rotten cheese, so at least they're honest about what it is. Number 10. Tonka Bean. Some ingredients are so interesting that chefs really want to use them for their unique flavors, but not all of them are allowed in the kitchen. One example is the Tonka bean, which comes from South America. This small, wrinkly bean is banned in the US because it contains a chemical called coumarin, which has been linked to possible health problems. Since 1954, the US has banned the use of coumarin in food. Even though coumarin is also found in other plants like cinnamon and licorice, the tonka bean has much higher amounts of it. To actually be dangerous, a person would need to eat a lot, about 30 beans. In fancy restaurants, just a tiny amount of tonka bean shavings can add flavor to as many as 80 different dishes. Even though it's banned, the tonka bean is still very popular among top chefs who are always looking for ways to use its special flavor in their cooking. Number 9. Sea turtles. Eating a turtle might feel strange, but people say it has a surprisingly flexible flavor. Depending on which part of the turtle you eat, it can taste like chicken, pork, or even fish. This special quality once made sea turtles a very popular food in the United States, especially in dishes like turtle soup. But today, sea turtles have disappeared from American menus, and the reason is simple: they are now protected because their numbers have dropped so much. Slow reproduction loss of their natural homes and overhunting have pushed many types of turtles close to extinction. The green sea turtle in particular has become a symbol of conservation and is strongly protected under the Endangered Species Act. This law makes it illegal to hunt, catch, or eat green sea turtles. Breaking the law is a serious crime and can lead to big fines or even criminal charges. Protecting these ancient sea creatures has become very important to help them survive for future generations. Even though turtle dishes were once part of American food traditions today, they remind us about the need to balance tradition with conservation. Efforts to protect their habitats and cut down on threats caused by humans are crucial to saving these amazing animals. The green sea turtle is more than just another animal. It's an important part of ocean ecosystems and a symbol of our natural world. Saving them makes sure they stay part of our future, not just something we read about in history books. Number 8. Kinder Surprise Eggs. This is quite an interesting story because many people around the world might be confused. These tasty, milky chocolate eggs are still sold in many countries, but for some reason, they are banned in the United States. In fact, selling them is actually illegal in the US. Kinder Surprise eggs have been a favorite treat for kids around the world. The hollow chocolate eggs are very sweet, and inside each one is a small toy you can build. Sounds like a bonus, right? Well, not always. The United States probably made the right decision in keeping Kinder eggs off store shelves, mainly for safety reasons. The Kinder Egg has small parts inside that young children could accidentally swallow, or a child might not realize there's a toy inside and try to eat the whole egg biting into the toy or the small capsule that holds it. The law that bans this isn't aimed just at Kinder Eggs. It's been around since the 1930s. The rule says that any candy containing non-food objects inside can be dangerous for kids and isn't allowed to be sold. It's a bit unlucky for Kinder, but when you think about it, it makes sense, doesn't it? Number 7. Ordolon. This rare French songbird is a very tiny animal and might be one of the rarest delicacies in the world. The ortolan is a very delicate bird, weighing less than an ounce and smaller than your thumb. It was mostly served only to kings, queens, and very rich food lovers. However, by 1999, eating it was completely banned. The bird was usually covered in fat and was said to have a slight hazelnut flavor when served hot and fresh. The main reason it was banned is probably because of the cruel way it was prepared. The birds were kept in the dark for weeks and force-fed grains and grapes until they grew much bigger. Then, while still alive, they were dropped into a vat of Armagnac brandy where they were drowned before being roasted. An interesting part of the tradition was the way people ate the ortolan. Diners would cover their heads with a napkin to hide the act from God and to make the eating experience more intense. This secretive way of eating added even more mystery and exclusivity to an already rare dish. Even though the ortolan had historical importance, the cruel preparation method raised big concerns among animal rights activists and environmentalists. As terrible as the preparation sounds, it actually wasn't the main reason for the ban. The ban happened mostly because the ortolan population was getting too small and the bird was becoming endangered. It had already been listed as a protected species by the European Union in 1979, but it took France another 20 years to finally enforce the rule, banning the practice in 1999. Number 6. Dish of pufferfish fugu. The famous Japanese dish made from pufferfish isn't for people who are easily scared. This dish is known for having a strong poison called tetrodotoxin, which is found in the fish's organs. The poison is very dangerous and can be deadly if eaten in the wrong amounts. Even with the danger, fugu has been a special food in Japan for hundreds of years. The fish is known for its firm texture and delicate taste, which makes it a popular dish for special events. Preparing fugu is strictly controlled in Japan. Chefs need to spend many years training and getting certified before they can legally serve it. In Japan, fugu is served in fancy restaurants where the risks are carefully handled and customers usually know about the dangers. Even though fugu is more available now, it's still very expensive and requires special preparation, so it's not something people eat every day. While it might seem exciting to try a risky dish like this, it's important to remember that only certified chefs can prepare fugu safely to reduce the dangers. Number 5. Mirabel Plums. The small yellow plums are called Mirabel Plums, and it seems they are only grown in the Lorraine region of France. Because of this, they are very hard to find in the United States due to French import rules that protect the fruit's origin. They're difficult to get because of this. Mirabel plums are banned in all 50 states of the US. This is a shame because they are said to be very sweet and flavorful. It looks like if you love plums, you'll need to go to France to try the tasty Mirabel plums. The good news is that 20% of commercially grown Mirabel plums are made into eau de vie, a perfume that you can bring back to the US if you just like how they smell. Also, these plums are very healthy. They are packed with antioxidants, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. They can also help reduce the risk of chronic diseases like diabetes, cancer, heart disease, and osteoporosis. Number 4. Queen Conch. The Alligator gigas, or queen conch, is a large sea snail found in the Caribbean and the tropical Northwest Atlantic Ocean. This conch is one of the biggest sea creatures in the area and can grow up to 14 inches long. People have valued the queen conch since ancient times, and Native Americans used its shell for decoration. However, modern trends of collecting queen conch shells have caused serious harm to the species in its natural home. Because of this, the U.S. has set rules to try to stop the overfishing of this species, which is found in the waters around Florida. The meat of the queen conch has been an important part of West Indian food, as well as in many islands near southern Florida. There are many ways to cook queen conch meat, such as eating it raw or using it in chowder, fritters, stews, soups, salads, and pâtés. Tribes like the Arawak used the shells to make knives and weapons, while the Aztecs believed that blowing a conch shell created a divine trumpet sound and would blow them during religious ceremonies. Number 3. The Chilean Sea Bass. Chilean sea bass, also called Patagonian toothfish, has become a popular fish in fancy restaurants because of its rich, buttery texture. This fish lives in the cold waters of the southern hemisphere, where it can grow up to 7 feet long and live for as long as 50 years. Its taste is often compared to cod, but it has a more delicate texture that melts in your mouth, making it a favorite among seafood fans. However, the popularity of Chilean sea bass has led to worries about overfishing. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, illegal fishing and overcatching pushed the species toward danger. Many fishing industries nearly collapsed because of unsustainable methods, which led to efforts to regulate how this fish is caught. Some areas now use sustainable fishing methods, but illegal fishing still threatens the fish's survival. As demand for Chilean sea bass grows, its price has gone up, making it more of a luxury item. If you plan to order it, it's important to make sure it comes from a sustainable source. Number 2. Ackie Fruit. One food that people in the US generally avoid is unripe Ackie fruit, and for a good reason. If you eat it before it ripens, it can cause a serious illness called Jamaican vomiting sickness. Symptoms of this sickness include severe vomiting, confusion, low blood sugar, and in some cases, seizures, hypothermia, coma, and even death. The only way to treat it is with intravenous fluids and dextrose sugar. The good news is that once the fruit ripens, it's safe to eat because the harmful chemicals that cause the sickness go away. But it's still a bit of a gamble because the fruit can be dangerous if it's not fully ripe. Ackie fruit is a common part of Jamaican cooking, especially when it's paired with salted codfish to make the national dish Ackie and saltfish. It was brought to Jamaica from West Africa in the 18th century and has become a key part of the island's food culture. When it's ripe and safe to eat, Ackie has a creamy texture and a mild, nutty flavor. Ripe Ackie is easy to recognize because of its red and yellow color, and the black seeds are clearly visible inside. Unripe Ackie, however, is greenish-yellow, and the seeds are hidden inside, making it look like a closed book. Even cooking the fruit doesn't remove the risks if it's unripe. While the US has only had a few cases of Ackie poisoning, studies show that children and malnourished people are at the highest risk. This is why many Americans prefer to stay away from this dangerous fruit. It's better to avoid the risks and enjoy other tasty, safe foods instead. Number 1. The Sassifras Oil. Sassifras oil, once popular for its uses in food and medicine, has a controversial history. For many years, it was a common ingredient in dishes like gumbo and teas, and it was even used to flavor root beer. But despite its long history, sassafras oil is no longer allowed in food in the United States, and many other countries have banned it as well. So why the change? It all started in the 1970s when studies on rats showed that a compound called safrole in sassafras oil could cause cancer. Even though you would have to consume a large amount to reach dangerous levels, the risks were serious enough to take action. In addition to cancer, safrole has also been linked to liver damage, which made the decision to ban it from food even stronger. Symptoms of poisoning from safrole include stomach pain, nausea, dizziness, and even hallucinations, making it a dangerous ingredient to use. While it still has a nostalgic place in history, the potential health risks make sassafras oil a product that should be avoided.